Welcome to the October 19th, 2017 business meeting, and I'll call that to order and ask the county administrator to please take roll.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. We have Mr. Stephen Madcourt representing County Council Office here this morning, and Mary Rathke serving as your clerk to the board. I'll start with a roll. Commissioner Humberson.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Here.
Chair Bernard.
Here, please join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, first, you may note we're a little short here on the board, and you can blame the legislature for that. That is, we haven't got funding for 205. We were ourselves at a meeting this morning and had to take 205, and it took me a half hour to get here from Monarch Hotel. But we also early today because today is the great shakeout. Oregon's and the world's most popular earthquake drill. Around 10:19, we think there might be an earthquake. Commissioners will take part in a great shakeout by practicing the drop, cover, and hold on technique for 30 seconds. This proven technique saves lives. Encourage everyone attending our meeting today to join in, and we have a huge crowd. After we finish the drop, cover, and hold on, I will adjourn the meeting and we will join the county staff in evacuating this building. County employees participating in the drill, I encourage everyone to participate. It could save your life. Find out more about earthquake preparedness and watch a video about how to practice the drill at www.clackamas.us/shakeout. I appreciate the fine work of our disaster management team. Some of them are in the audience. And to all the planning and conducting of this important training. Remember, when the shaking starts, we don't want you to think about what to do. We want you to know what to do. So because we have a presentation and other things on the agenda, we need to, we're going to jump, with the consent of the commission, to the consent agenda. Are we okay with that?
Yep.
All right. So, Mary, please read the consent agenda by title.
Okay, today's consent agenda. Under Health, Housing, and Human Services, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Housing Authority of Clackamas County for the Mentor Athlete Program. Under number 2, approval of an agency service contract with LifeWorks Northwest for early assessment and support alliance services. Approval of amendment number 2 to the Intergovernmental Revenue Agreement with the Oregon Department of Education Early Learning Division for the Healthy Family Program. Approval of a renewal revenue health care services agreement with Northwest Permanente to provide chemical dependency treatment services to referred members. And approval of a service agreement with Genevieve Woods Partnering and Clackamas County Health Centers Division in participation with 340B Pharmacy Services Agreement. Under elected officials, approval of previous business meeting minutes. And the Development Agency, approval of a disposition agreement with Sante Investment LC. Approval of a cooperative improvement agreement with Oregon Department of Transportation for the Boyer Drive Extension Project. And approval of an intergovernmental agreement for right-of-way services with ODOT for the Boyer Drive Extension Project. And under Water Environment Services, approval of a joint funding agreement between Water Environment Services and the U.S. Geology Survey for the Tualatin River monitoring, and approval of a joint funding agreement between Clackamas County Service District Number 1 and the U.S. Geological Survey for Johnson Creek monitoring. And that concludes today's consent agenda.
Do any commissioners wish to remove or pull an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We had some new folks come into the hearing room. Did you wish to testify under citizen communication? No? Okay. Need to come up here and tell us who you are and where you're from.
Sure. I am. Thank you.
Okay.
I did send, I had a letter, but I do have letters. I have a petition, and I would like to present the petition and a map of Clackamas Water District and Sunrise Water District's proposal for a reservoir. My name is Connie Emmons. I live at 15143 Southeast Cole Drive, number 36, at Ridgewood Manufactured Home Park. And I have been to 2 meetings with the water district. It is Clackamas River Water District. Sorry, that would be wonderful. Let's see, and each one of the officers can have this. And my cover letter is to ask that you forward the questionnaire and our demands, which would affect 45 homeowners that live there. I have approximately, I believe, between 35, 38, and I'm still collecting. I did try and contact the local CPO in our area, and there isn't one. I am a past president from CPO in River Grove, the unincorporated area of Clackamas County. This is also in the unincorporated area of Clackamas County. The reservoir, we're not against the reservoir. We simply feel that there is another way into this area, which is contiguous to the, if you look at the little map that I gave you, which is on this piece of paper here, it shows where our reservoir is going. Anyway, the property contiguous is Misty Way, Mistwood Way, and we would like the Transportation Department to consider this. However, the Water District has told us in no uncertain terms that they will not take their heavy construction vehicles out that way. A big, huge garbage truck goes down that road all the time, so you can't tell me it is impossible for them to take it out. Our concern is 152nd is a very busy road. It's going to get busier. Happy Valley is the largest growing area in the metropolitan and Clackamas County. So here's some of the things I wanted them to address and look at. Also, you have been to, I just saw in the newspaper, the hidden gem that this article was about. It's only about a mile from here. If you know where 152nd is and 224, the other thing I would like to have transportation deal with is that corner. We've had so many accidents. We've heard them from our house. We know there have been fatalities. They need to either put no left turn or do a 3-way light. And I guess that ODOT felt that it was too close to the other light. Well, if it saves lives, I am very concerned, and I would like that addressed while they're doing this. Because if you try and take a 2-trailer vehicle, a big truck, and make a left-hand turn, you're going to have fatalities. Is my time
So
up?
this is not about the reservoir, it's about while constructing the reservoir access.
Yes, and the other thing, they were willing to do monitoring. We have alluvial soil. When the garbage truck goes, my house is a second road from Louise Lane. When the garbage truck goes down, my plants actually move. So it makes me very concerned that my neighbors will have some kind of erosion. on our street. We have springs in that area, and when it rains, we have an inch to 2 inches of water floating down the front of our roadway. So it makes me more concerned that if they're also going to be using the heavy equipment, it'll take up to 12 to 24 months, we don't know. And I just wonder if they have looked at this as a potential slide area. I don't know, because they haven't shown us anything but what they wanted us to see. So, yes, these are directed at before they start work. I think we'd like something in writing that they will help people. It costs $10,000 to get your foundation redone. It's not cheap, and none of us have a lot of money.
I will look into it a little bit,
So
but they are a separate district that we have no control over whatsoever. They're elected by the people, not by us. But it is something we can check on. You were limited to 3 minutes, so if you just have just a little bit more you want to say, please feel free.
Okay, well, the other concerns about pedestrian is that there is no walkway. When they built the other community up above us, they stopped. And so we have a dirt road between the upper portion of 152nd and Louise Lane. So any of our neighbors that have to walk it have to either walk in the road or on a muddy lane that my neighbor and I dug out so that people could get off the road.
Okay.
So if we could get that, I don't know who deals with sidewalks.
It's funding the sidewalk. We do and developers do, but yeah, we'll look at it. There's also a traffic safety committee that you might send a letter to. Joe Merrick heads up that group, and I'm sure you can find him in our DTD, or we can get you the information.
I'll take this information and follow up. The question I would have is the role the county may play with respect to permitting requirements with respect to this, and whether those matters are able to address any of the concerns that have been raised here this morning. But we'll follow up and get back to it.
Okay, all right. So make sure you fill out that card and turn it in so we can get our
Okay.
contact
Well, thank you for
information.
your time, and I hope you peruse it, and let me know if there's any other contacts that I could make with
Okay.
anyone that would listen. Thank you for your time.
Oh, Paul, yes.
Well, that's why I just want to make a comment. I'll go out there and look at it specifically, but I just also want to take into consideration that, or let you know that the Sunrise Corridor path through there, when Phase 2 is built, will actually go between the bridge and this facility. So what improvements are made there can't really, need to coincide, and so I don't think that we would want to put in a lot of infrastructure and then tear it out, a couple years later. So we have to be mindful of how we address that. But I'll take a look at the safety issues there and that as best I can, and hopefully you can be successful with the Water District in having the concerns, because they have control of the project. The county does not have control of their project.
But planning might have some opportunity. Ken,
Thank you.
Ken?
Well, I was wondering, you said you had 2 meetings. Were these just public meetings that you went to, or have you had a meeting?
Yeah, that,
I would suggest you meet with the general manager of the facility, Todd Hydrigan, and the project engineer.
Okay,
Because
just a minute.
he's going to be the person,
With
Todd-
with the Water District?
yes.
the,
He's the general, Mr. Hydrigan is the general manager of the district.
hydrogen?
Hydrigan,
Oh, wow.
H-E-I-D-R,
Related to George.
G-R-E-N, something like that. And then ask to have the project engineer participate in those discussions, so that at least on those things that they are directly overseeing in the construction project, they may be able to address at least some of your concerns.
And this is with the county?
No,
This is with the Water District. It's the general manager of the Water District and the project engineer.
so,
For the Water District.
Clackamas River Water District?
yes. So Ken used to be on the board.
Oh, okay.
Before he was here, he was on the board, so he is somewhat familiar.
It's all his fault.
Yeah, it's his fault.
Yeah, it is partly my fault. We did vote to do this project because the infrastructure improvements needed.
Against the project.
Understood.
All right, thank you. So the next item on the agenda, we had to move things around a little bit, so we're on to the Housing Authority agenda. I ask the clerk to read the Housing Authority consent agenda by title.
Okay, we have two items on the Housing Authority consent agenda. Approval to enter into a housing assistant payment contract with Pedcore Investment 2016 CLV Limited Partnership for the Rosewood Terrace project, and approval to submit two applications to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Rental Assistant Demonstration Program.
Does any commissioner want to remove any item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve the Housing Authority consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. The next item on the agenda is a presentation.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and of course, I'm going to predict at 10:19 this morning, we're going to have a major seismic event here in Clackamas County. This presentation is regarding earthquake preparedness and the Clackamas County shakeout drill. We have Nancy Bush and Jamie Hayes from our Disaster Management Department here for you this
So
morning.
I want to
present.
interrupt you just 1 second. On that vote, we were the Housing Authority. And I just want to make sure, so we adjourned as the Board of County Commissioners became the Housing Authority. We are now adjourning and returning as the Board of County Commissioners. Sorry I missed that. Go ahead, Nate.
All right. I'm on. So, good morning. So, thank you for having us here today. It's on now? Okay. We are here because we are having the great shakeout. Administrator Krupp has said that he thinks it's going to be at 10:19. We think he might be pretty close on that. So we just wanted to give you a brief presentation, give you a little bit of background as well. It is important that we do this every year. We actually do, there's a state statute that is a public employer that we are required to do it every year. So we do have Jamie here today, and she has been in charge of the shakeout this year and has pulled everything together. As a county, we are exercising some very important things. We are doing the drop, cover, and hold on. We are also going to be evacuating some buildings and practicing that. And then we also have our new employee disaster reporting cards, which we've been giving out to all employees. It's just a little kind of a teal card that has instructions on it, how employees can call in or get on the web, or they can email us during a disaster to say, this is where I am. My family is okay, my family is not okay, I can report to work, I cannot, those types of things, because we never know when a disaster is going to strike, and we never know what it's going to be that may close down some of the roads and bridges. And it may not just be an earthquake, it could be other things. We have, for example, a volcano here as well that can cause those issues. So we're exercising that today, which is the first time we've done that on a large scale, so we're very excited to see how that works too. So as I said, I do have Jamie Poole with me today. She is going to be doing a brief introduction, and we're going to be showing a video, and then we will turn it back over to you.
Yes, good morning. So you are correct. At 10:19 this morning, we are participating in a drop, cover, and hold on drill. This is the recommended personal protective action to take when there is an earthquake. And the county is also participating with 4 buildings that are following the drop, cover, and hold on drill with what we would normally do during an earthquake and evacuate the buildings. The buildings are the Public Service Building, the Development Services Building, the Hilltop Clinic, and the McCoy Building. After an evacuation is done during after an earthquake, you are not allowed to re-enter the building until there is a safety assessment done on that building. So we ask that people take their time exiting the building, not only for their safety, because there might be things that have dropped or debris might be around you, but you also want to collect things that you can take with you out of the building because you might not be able to re-enter quickly. So taking your keys, your cell phone, your coat, those types of things. So today we are showing the video that Chair Bernard had mentioned that's on our website. It was produced by Clackamas County Public and Government Affairs Office as well as Disaster Management. The video discusses what our earthquake risk is and how to properly protect yourself during an earthquake, including what to do if there's not a sturdy table or something to get underneath. So we can go ahead and play that.
Hi, I'm Jay Wilson with Clackamas County Disaster Management. We all know and appreciate how beautiful our county is, but it's essential that we all remember that this area is prone to earthquakes. We live in earthquake country. I've worked in the field of disaster preparedness for over 20 years, and let me tell you, knowing what to do when the ground starts shaking is very important. It really can make the difference in reducing your risk of injury. Here's how you can prepare. Your limited experience with earthquakes may give you a false sense of safety. Perhaps you did nothing or ran outside and you survived with no injuries. You may even have crawled under a desk and later felt you overreacted. You likely have never experienced the intense shaking that's possible from a strong earthquake. Back and forth motion of several feet per second can cause the ground to jerk out from under you, potentially sending airborne every unsecured object around you. This is why you need to learn to immediately protect yourself after that first jolt and not wait to see if the earthquake will be strong. Rescue teams dispatched to seismic events around the world all agree that drop, cover, and hold on is the appropriate action to reduce injury and even death during an earthquake. When the shaking begins, drop onto your hands and knees. This position protects you from falling and allows you to move if necessary. Cover your head, neck, and your entire body if possible under a sturdy table or desk. Hold on to your shelter until the shaking stops, and be prepared to move with your shelter if the shaking shifts it around. If there is no table or desk nearby, go to an interior wall or low-lying furniture and cover your head and neck with your arms and hands. If you are driving, coast to the side of the road. Stop and set the parking brake. Avoid bridges and stay inside the vehicle until the shaking stops. If you use a wheelchair or have mobility impairments, set the wheel lock, bend forward, and protect your head and neck with your arms or a pillow. If you're in bed, stay put, hold on to the bed, and protect your head with a pillow. While images of collapsed structures and earthquakes can be frightening, most buildings in the United States do not collapse. Studies of injuries and deaths caused by earthquakes show that you're much more likely to be injured by falling or flying objects. Drop, cover, and hold on will help protect you from these injuries. You will be more likely to react quickly when shaking begins if you have actually practiced how to protect yourself. Millions of people will be practicing drop, cover, and hold on during the Great Shakeout. Join me and hundreds of thousands of Oregonians because practice makes perfect sense. When the shaking starts, you don't want to think about what to do, you want to know what to do. It could save your life.
Thank you. So today we're going to ask folks if we're in this room during the shakeout that we find an interior wall to crouch down beside and not go by the windows.
Or we could just crowd you guys. It's up to you.
Yeah.
We can come under there, so.
They're getting under
You can get under,
Yeah,
but if
but
the
the audience
could.
doesn't have a place to go if there's especially a larger audience. And like I said, unless we want us to crowd under there with you, that could be interesting. I do want to thank you guys and for your support for this, and also Administrator Krupp. This is very important that we do. We do get a lot of feedback every year from our employees, everything from, we wish you picked a better day to do this because it's raining, which, usually earthquakes don't pick necessarily the best day, to, we're glad that we do this, and we, the muscle memory and being able to do it every year has helped us to be more prepared. So we appreciate your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts.
Oh, thank you.
Martha, what's your crystal ball saying? What time's this earthquake going to hit?
It's going to hit 10:19. In which case, I will be under this desk.
I remember having to do this in elementary school. But it was for a different reason.
Nuclear blast.
Yes, I don't think it would have been very helpful in the nuclear blast.
I do too, I remember that.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Then, next on the agenda is county administrator updates.
Well, thank you. We've got a few more minutes here left till the predicted event occurs. I've got a couple of things to share with you. One, I wanted to relay to you some numbers from this year's Down the River cleanup. And of course, our Water Environment Services Department facilitated and led the county's participation in that. And I understand that volunteers removed some 3,800 pounds of garbage from the Clackamas River. That's quite a volume of material. And I think increased efforts on the part of Wes and also the nonprofit Clackamas River Basin Council and other folks have resulted in a significant decrease in the trash that's been left along the river in recent years. So I do want to express a thank you to the Clackamas River Basin Council for providing the boats and spearheading the work along with the nonprofit We Love Clean Rivers. So, and also thanks to the various collection companies that donated and service the trash containers. Next, I wanted to share with you that earlier this month, 22 of our health, housing, and human services employees, family members, friends, partners, and spouses gathered together to create awareness about suicide prevention. These 22 individuals participated in the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's Out of the Darkness Community Walk. And not only did our team participate, but we ranked 12th out of 230 teams in Portland in the fundraising, raising a total of $1,820, of which Mr. Swift and Mr. Krupp and Ms. Durbin contributed a significant amount to the effort. So, and then lastly, let me just say, I just want to make sure we thank all those folks who participated to create awareness and hope. Lastly, our Department of Transportation Resource Conservation and Solid Waste Program recently certified another local business through its Leaders in Sustainability program. The Lake Oswego Office of OBEC Consulting Engineers received the program's highest level of certification. The company codified several new policies related to waste reduction and sustainability that are now in place at all 6 of their offices across Oregon and Washington. So it just goes to show the kind of good work we can do together with our partners in the business community. And that's all I have to share with you.
Great, thank you very much. Commissioner Fisher, you're up first.
For Commissioner Communication?
Yes.
So a lot of us attended the steering committee planning, strategic planning for domestic violence for Safe Place. That's been something that's been on my mind, is how do we make sure that a safe place has enough space? And one thing I just wanted to share, which was really compelling for me, was the issue of measuring hope, and measuring hope for children that are struggling in situations with domestic violence. I think it's very important that we as policymakers think strategically about this, because I think that will help create resiliency and help our youth, which is very, very important. Some other things that have been on my mind, I have had a doctor's appointment at Sunnyside Kaiser earlier today, and I would have been here at 10:45 had I not spent 30 minutes traveling just a few miles from Sunnyside to here, and 205 was just stopped it at 9:15 to 10:45, and I think that's just a real issue. Though I did not notice any accident at all.
Yeah, I mentioned that's why you were a little late.
Yes.
Because you were probably on 205.
So I was interested in the conversation. We had breakfast with Congressman Schrader this morning with the Clackamas County Business Alliance, and if there's one thing that we as a commission can do really well to advocate with our state legislators to really prioritize 205. It's so important for the region. I just think, we think of moving goods and moving industry, but it's time. It's time for people in the workforce and stress, and it's a real issue. So those are a couple of the things that are forefront on my mind, and looking forward to the shakeout in 2 minutes. Is our clock correct?
Yep.
Okay, so then I'll be quiet so somebody else can talk for another 2 minutes.
Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, I also was caught on I-205 because this morning I was at Clackamas Workforce Partnerships, which is our workforce board. And basically, every time we have a meeting every quarter, they ask for a commission presentation. And so this morning with them, I talked about the OMIC, the Oregon Manufacturing Innovation Council that's going on in Scappoose and how we can integrate into that. Particularly, I'd like to encourage Clackamas Community College to do so as they're building a new manufacturing center. We talked a little bit about the sectors and what the career pathways were and what the actual tasks are of the workforce employees to make all of this happen. So that was a good event. Also talked a little bit about our housing issues. Rich Swift was there with me and joined in with that conversation. Talked about the 212 units that we're building. Talk about how we're looking to increase our capacity in Oregon City and in Milwaukee. And finally, we talked a little bit about the pods we're building outside here for our veterans. And yes, I was caught in the parking lot that is I-205 on my attempt to get here at 9:45 this morning. Basically, I think that's it for me. I did take a tour of the White Oak Savannah with Roberta Schwartz and Wes Lynn. I could not go to that ribbon cutting and opening, so I got to see the whole park. I've connected them to Water and Environment Services because they want to daylight a stream that has been previously there, and I think there's a partnership that we can pull together to make that happen. Okay.
Commissioner Savas.
Well, I'll be at the OTC, the Oregon Transportation Commission meeting, a retreat this afternoon, and I'll make sure I convey the concerns about I-205. That's how important it is. It really shakes people up.
Now, so you can protect yourself during a real earthquake. This is an earthquake drill. Right now, drop, cover, and hold on. Drop to the floor now. During a large earthquake, the ground might jerk strongly and knock you down. Take cover under something sturdy to protect yourself from objects that can be thrown across the room. Hold on to your shelter until the shaking stops. If you can't get under something, stay low and protect your head and neck with your arms. Now, look around. What objects might fall or be thrown at you that you should secure in place before a real earthquake occurs? Once the building has stopped shaking, all occupants should evacuate the building in an actual earthquake. When evacuating the building, you should gather your belongings, such as your cell phone, purse, wallet, ID badge, emergency kit, but only if it is safe to do so. Report to your assembly location outside of the building and check in with your department and safety team representative and wait for further instructions. As part of this year's shakeout drill, please immediately, right now, evacuate the building in a timely and orderly manner.
You guys okay?
The drop, cover, hold exercise.
I thought through this event.
The building.
With that, we will adjourn and evacuate the building.